Prehistoric pest management is everywhere, but usually hiding inside storage, architecture, and human-animal relationships. Here are 6 examples. Number 1. Architectural pest control. Jericho's tower protected from pests and the well and spring, its granaries, bins, plaster, and central buildings. In other pre-pottery Neolithic A and pre-pottery Neolithic B Levant rodent-proof granaries, there was the Jordan Valley, Dura, Gilgal-I, Netiv Hagdud, and Wadi Fayan. Coote and Finlayson's work on 11,000-year-old granaries shows raised or suspended floors with airspace underneath to keep grain dry and specifically to protect from rodents. Later pre-pottery Neolithic B plaster technology is used very deliberately. Thick plaster on floors, walls, and the insides of storage features to keep moisture out and make it hard for rodents to climb and insects to bore in. A Neolithic refrigerator paper posted online explicitly says late pottery Neolithic B villagers used plaster to protect stored food from rodents and pests, as well as to regulate temperatures and humidity. In the late 7th millennium BCE, there was also Tel Sabi Abyad in North Syria, and even more north, at Catahoyuk. At Catahoyuk, many houses had plaster storage bins and silos, often thickly lined with mud and lime plasters. Archaeologist Mellart in later work described them explicitly as grain bins, and broader Neolithic storage studies argue that such plastering is part of a package of measures to control moisture and stop rodents and insects from getting at the food. Even if no one writes rat-proof in a field notebook, the combination of raised or compartmentalized storage, smooth and sealed surfaces, sometimes restricted access like tiny doorways and internal bins, as well as a watchtower, are very close to what a modern pest control person would recommend. Number 2. Buried baskets and pits. Early humans also utilized pest control heritage by using buried baskets and pits. At Ouidbet in Morocco and others, there is this tradition. During the early Holocene or Neolithic, people started using waterlogged baskets and containers with stored plant remains, acorns, fruits, and seeds preserved in pits along a paleo channel. In Xishan, North China, 6000 to 5000 BCE, there were hundreds of subterranean millet pits, some up to 5 meters and holding 1,000 kilos of grain. As well in Les Bagnoles, France, and other European Neolithic sites. Number 3. Using counter strategies. Again, in Les Bagnoles, southeast France, during the Middle Neolithic, 4250 to 3700 BCE, farmers were dealing with serious pest pressure. They responded accordingly by changing crop choices, like more Emner einkorn versus naked wheats, which were more vulnerable. Essentially an early resistant variety strategy. Many sites were shown bearing pest-infested grain in disguised wells while they shifted crop spectra to less vulnerable species. Burnt rodent bones and household waste at Neolithic sites in Scotland and others were found too, suggesting people were regularly catching and eating small rodents. Authors interpret this partly as pest control through exploitation. If mice were getting in your stores, you turn them into cheap, well-fed protein. Number 4. Cats, dogs, and biological control. Cats as rodent specialists were found in Quanhachun, China, 5,300 years ago. In the Near East and Cyprus, cat bones were found at Shilar Kambos and other Levantine sites. It shows a close association between humans and wildcats 9,500 years ago. Shilar Kambos even has a human-cat joint burial. By the late Neolithic and probably earlier, there is strong evidence that keep a cat near the granary is already a well-established pest control tactic. Dogs were common in early farming villages and herding societies too, sometimes buried with elders of clear status. In rock arts and relief, dogs are shown participating in coordinated hunts, implying they are also suited to guarding flocks and settlements at night. Neolithic dogs were part of an important predator pest control system for both animals, wolves, foxes, and humans. Number 5. Traps. Professor Lynn Wadley argues that snares and traps were probably used from at least the Middle Stone Age. Even if the physical traps rarely survive, she uses patterning in bones, transport decisions, and ethnographic enology to infer complex, remote capture technologies, even before spears. Number 6. Megafauna as pest. During the early Neolithic, some people were still hunter-gatherers, even though others were experimenting with cultivation, and there were much different kinds of pests. The megafauna as pest mindset becomes much clearer after cultivation and storage of grains. It's when wild boar, deer, gazelles, birds, and rodents appear as crop raiders. By the early Neolithic, 11 to 12,000 years ago, most megafauna were already gone, even though people thought differently, and it may have been less about instinct, more about survival. It's only been in the past 10,000 years the idea of pests being tightly bound to owning crops or stores, whereas previously some animals were trespassing on people's property, their cave trail, water supply, or hunting camp. Prehistoric pest management is everywhere, but usually hiding inside storage, architecture, and human-animal relationships. Check out architecture, buried baskets and pits, using counter strategies, cats, dogs, and biological pest control, traps, and megafauna as pests. For more Neolithic architecture and Neolithic architectural heritage today.